Right. Hi, guys. Good evening. Haven't talked to you for a while. It's almost yeah, it's 11:30 at Friday night, and I honestly just came from work, and I usually eat this time, but I had some stuff to eat at work, and so I decided just simply to talk for a while. I haven't talked with you, and here's the deal: the um, last month, it was a year ago when I got poisoning, and it was so suspicious because of the so much coincidences that I had, and same time. My mother got sick. She was sick already, but sometimes her during this time when I was poisoned, pretty much same time her um, health just start running down in massive speed. Anyway, so I will talk to you about some poisonings of gangstalking. The I over last 40 years, I was actually poisoned several times, and the one that was um, last year, it's as I said, it was chemical, and this chemical is has this side effect that will just drive you physically sick. Like with me, it's walking up every single altar that I had over the last 35 years, and I had gastritis symptoms that was so painful that actually I had part of my belly on the left side. I couldn't feel it for 7 8 months. And some of the medicine that I took saved me, and my personal education that I have in alternative medicine and alternative medicine experience while I had my own pharmacy of alternative stuff. So it actually saved me. If I didn't know anything, I would have maybe had a little end. In general, this is the most serious stuff that I had here in Atlanta, and I had stuff in the past. I had poisonings, but there was a different way. So that's why I'm going to talk about not chemical poisoning. I'm talking about stuff that you understand me very, very well. What people tell you, even close people, when you tell them that you are gang stalked, they will tell you in that case. Exactly. So people, even close people, won't believe you. It's sometimes it's correct. Sometimes this thing sounds so bizarre that people sometimes say, "Wow, and this guy just went to somewhere," you know. So here's the deal. Um, I went through several situations like this, and I will just now talk about whatever I remembered of this day today. I had a plan to do this, and so I kind of try to remember things. So let's start. The people will love to make you look that you are not case, and it's because it's placed in their um, narrative. Yeah, so it's not something new. Whoever knew KGB at the time or former special secret services of former Eastern European countries, they would do with dissidents the same what gangstalkers do, and they will give them some kind of medication that would make them correspond to sickness they assign to this person. So in the early 30s, 1930s of last century, the predecessor of KGB, it was NKVD, they developed a whole program that would make people look like they're nutcases. And the one of the biggest thing they did was several psychiatrists got together and invented thing called um, sluggish schizophrenia. It means sluggish, it's slowly developed schizophrenia. It was done on purpose when a person who is being trapped, usually was used on political figures that wouldn't just was able to get them killed. They would just make first have to make them look nutcases. They put them in a hospital and then quietly taken down. But they had an explanation to have. So it's 1930. It was, as I said, it was invented this thing, and there was not much chemicals used. It was simply uh, people were detained and kept, and like a dog that would be irritated and harassed, and usually people react in a way animals do, especially when don't realize they're being manipulated. So with time, the chemical and pharmaceutical industries developed different stuff, which is for part of it was chemicals that would be something like I would say hippies in Woodstock. A lot of them used, so they're hallucinogenic that would um, kind of put a person in a situation that they will not control themselves. And at the same time, they wouldn't be violent. You see, if somebody gives you a chemical that makes you violent, you become useless for gang stalkers. You will be put away. But this way, if you are just administered some kind of medicine that creates you and make you look like a mad, but not violently mad, they can use you and then say, "What do you want from us?" The guy is a nutcase, the girl is a nutcase, and it was really well developed. And the um, the way I heard long time ago was, you see, I grew up in the families of people related to medicine, and only my father was a nuclear scientist, and my mother was an engineer. But I had people around me, even not relatives, but people around me that I grew up with, they in medicine and the medical field, and the those people say, well, there is a medicine that been given to a person that can make them look severe crazy or just nutcase and strange. Strange that developed. It develop is usually strangeness of a person get developed for a while, and then until it kind of culminates in a situation that it's very positive for gang stalkers. What they're going to do this person, and it can be the medicine supposedly worked of one day. It can work one day. It can work several hours, or it can work a couple of days or a week. And then they will say, "Yeah, this gentleman or lady has some kind of episode that is really really bad." So the why it was done, and people look like nutcases. Actually, it's killing your social life. The uh, people who are I have to get rid of something comes up here on the screen. What happens is um, uh, the the isolation is very important part. So I did several videos about personal relationships, like a sanctuary that would destroy the sanctuary of personal relationships. And one of those personal relationship destroyer is actually when one of the people who try to get into relationship looks like a nutcase, because no, if you're a man, no woman want to do anything with you because you can get sick children or something. This is what they think, or you have in general can embarrass you. So that's why there's a procedure. So the procedure it's kind of interesting. They would test stuff on you, and they would test stuff on you at works, and then when it's necessary, for instance, you have a party, right? When you have a party, people call you, and so let's go bring this person, this person. There's somebody you're interested in is going to be there, and so on, so on. That person is happy, or he or she, and then what happens as a situation? There's a step-by-step introducing of this poisoning stuff that it makes person look like nutcase. First, somebody give this person this type of medication uh, to administer by himself. Usually it's a drink or what. That's why I said when you go to a party, I avoid drinking completely. In general, I'm trying to quit completely. I even don't beer anymore. I don't drink anymore in a can. Just even though I had one yesterday, but my point is I'm trying to get rid of it. There's no hard liquor. There's no nothing that can bring you a chemical dependency. Okay. So this gentleman or woman would have this poisonous stuff administered through by themselves. They would pour like some kind of drink or something like this, and then give it to them. And then a second step comes. They will wait until this thing starts working because you just drink and it won't work right away. So it will take a while, and then they will wait. And to make sure that it's working, there's going to be a test person that will come and say something to you, and then they will see your reaction or whatever you answer sometimes can be becoming crazy. And they said, oh yeah, then it's working. Then they will pull you into a company of other people, and then going to be a scenario in a way. They're going to start questions that would um, they know that it's kind of a your soft spot. And so you have usually when you have soft spot of stuff that you worry about and things like this, usually have on the service. If there is only one splatter of something that will bring them up, and you will start talking about them. And then there's a scenario with people asking questions. And when you start answering questions for people who are around you, you will sound absolutely crazy. And remember, those people don't have sometimes anything to do with the gun stalkers. This is exactly what gang stalkers' goal is. They need to introduce you as a nutcase to other people that will isolate you, and you will never be invited. If you're interested in somebody romantically, they will simply say, "Come on, thank you, God, that you know." Thank you guys for warning me. And actually, it doesn't have anything to do. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is very, very well professionally rehearsed. It's, as I said, it's scenario that is usually done not on you and it tested on a lot of people. Okay, and I had um several times actually. I used them in Sofia, Bulgaria. I had the Soviet citizenship at the time, and I didn't have to go to army, but I needed money. So I went. One of the friends that my Bulgarian family had, and asked them to find me a job. And the job was it's called the company called Kintex. Kintex was a company that is called uh, trade with not standard equipment, which is a second word for trading on weapons. I was really young, I was 24, and I said I needed money, and but unfortunately, now I say unfortunately. Then, unfortunately for me, I made a mistake, stupid mistake, to uh, ask for assistance and people find me a job and stuff like this. I had, as I said, my family, Bulgarian family, had really, really well placed people in the government, but they knew something and they, sorry, buried my attempt in this particular interest. So, um, and then I had this party, and and actually I wanted. There were two girls. Actually, I liked them both, but one was pretty special for me, and we went to just continue somewhere, and suddenly I realized that they look at me in a very strange way, and actually I will start reacting. Um I had facial expressions that were chemically induced, and it's very interesting. Then I had another case in Salt Lake City. I went. I needed legal advice, and I had the same thing. Looks like I went to a specific place when I buy coffee every day, and same thing. And but I said I was really, really. I was 30 years old. I was still naive. I was isolated, And it was early 90s, it was 1993 or 1994, something like this. And so it's very simple. When they administer these things, and you start talking, and you like somewhere but everywhere. And after it goes away, actually I did the kind of a rewind, you actually remember things. And the when you do a rewind in a way in your head, and you understand that actually this some of the medicine that they give you are um, brings you this to the edge of whatever you want and what is real. So they're mixing. So the fact that you can start talking things that you really want as they're real, and the fact is that you become kind of a how you call it, you have kind of head fog, mind fog, but at the same time you sounds believable because the those type of medicine actually what it does is just calms your nerves, even though it brings stuff on the surface that's in your mind. And then, as I said, you kind of sound absolutely normal, but at the same time, you're not. And so there's several sides of it. And in the end, you realize, understand that this is really, really dangerous. You see, those hippies, those people in the 60s that took all those type of stuff and they played really big role in practically they were in a way people who are were guinea pigs for those for this stuff. It's this collective knowledge. You have thousands of hippies or flower children that we're using medicinal situations for a lot of things, and yeah, everything is collected as information. And after that, this type of situations are combined, analyzed, and used on people that are gangstalked. Unfortunately, what it does, as I said, it kills your social life. People don't believe you from this moment on, and you become partially you become part of a relatively lonely life. And with me, I was actually I call it lucky because my the fate kind of life brought me to a different country. If I would have been left in Sofia and I would have been simply absolutely sure there was something would happen to me, and they would say, "Yeah, there's so many people that thought I was some kind of a sick, but it wasn't." And actually, as I said, I had several um, times that it happened to me, and as I said, it was 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago. So this is the first part I talk about the my suggestion in this particular case, not my particular case, in particular case, if you worry about being gang stalked and with chemically induced behavior, try to quit drinking. Um, Try to not to leave food at home. By the way, if you need to kind of if you're gonna beer with 5% alcohol, like you to 3.5% alcohol, I apologize. The you can carry it with you, like put in a bag or something. Just don't leave it at home because all they need to do just to exchange the can with the one with the poison. Because of this type of hallucinogenist can pronounce it. Sorry about the. It will be really how you call it embarrassing sometimes. If I knew this, sometimes I'm just. I said I hit 61 last month, so 61 years old, and when I go back when I'm 21, 40 years ago, and I know what happened, I becoming absolutely angry with myself, and there is no way uh, now that I know, you know, I would have done this. I would simply can yeah. There's this person called his name is Mike, and he's wants me to explain my gangstalking story. I will explain. Just give me a few minutes. I will finish with this one, and I say really fast what my gangstalking is all about. So my point about the chemicals: don't work yourself thing that you won't be going to use any type of stuff that other people use as that they can stuff that can be some stuff can be put in this stuff again repeating but sorry that will poison you in a way and make you look nutcase. That's why uh, develop discipline, no alcohol, no taking stuff for people you don't know, don't leave anything at work that can be tampered with. Okay. um, it is pretty much you have to develop a discipline that will anything you put in your body that is really interesting and easy to be tampered with. At least for you that oh, I wanna have because it's so tasty. By the way, I will really I want to finish with about the poisoning with very interesting gang stalking trick to get you poisoned. Um, if you're a gourmet person, you like to eat stuff and stuff like this. There's always nearby where you work, there's going to be a restaurant opened, new restaurant or new kind of a fast food, and you're like, oh man, there it is. So um, be careful on this. Imagine you're at work and you have a colleague of yours that comes and say, "Oh, I just bought some stuff here. The new restaurant opened. This is so nice. It smells so good." And you say, "Yeah, you know." It's a trap sometimes. Why? Because what it is knowing what kind of a food you like, the gang stalkers will buy one like this and say so how good it is. And usually by the end of work day, you're already hungry. And so a lot of stuff what happens eating when you're not eating half of the day, you're already hungry, you want for dinner. So if somebody presents you some kind of a dish that they just bought in a new restaurant that's within walking distance from place you work, um, there's a big possibility that you're gonna go and buy one, and this is when they poison you. So be really careful. Don't follow people who are um, that already kind of a scumbags. I had a situation like this in Salt Lake City, as I said, the place I work. But anyway, this is from my experience. So I will talk later. Maybe we'll have to sort in my head another type of stuff that I do. I just is what I was sorting today. I work 8 hours, and it just was I was doing stuff when I was walking and I was repeating myself. And this is what I kind of put together for today. Now, Mike, can you explain? This is what you say. Can you explain your gang stalking story? My gang stalking story is very simple. My father had a original nuclear patent for ionic impulse. Ionic impulse is a stuff that is used very, very wide in modern technologies, and it's different was at the time because it was secret. It was only for so-called accelerators. Nuclear accelerators, where you had ionic beam that would be shot into a tube, whereas the um, uh, like substances that are being warmed up, and this way the free energy is produced. Okay, but military. Uh, so um, the situation is that those type of nuclear accelerators, they had a second uh, application. And the second application is actually possibility of use of ionic beam into impulse weapons. Impulse weapons, not just impulse weapons, but impulse weapons that are do not require oxygen. It means that impulse weapons can be elevated in the upper parts of atmosphere and use from atmosphere to the uh, Earth. You see what I'm saying? It's practically there was earlier version of Star Wars at the time during Cold War. It was 1960, 60s early, but it was so the um, this is one of those. And the second part of my gang stalking was very interesting. I work in a hotel that was part of the investigation. Way before I started there, I started. It was 4 years after the event happened. If whoever remembers Cold War, there was a shooting of the Pope in 1981 in May 1981. And so, after several years after that, they were still looking for people who stayed in this hotel 4 years before I start working there. They were looking for people. They were looking for stuff as documents and registrations, old books, old bills of the hotels, and so on, so on. They just wanted to go through every single part of records they had. And one of those records was very interesting. The whoever remembers, as I said, the shooting itself in 1981 in May. There was one shooter. It was a guy who emptied the gun into the Pope and got tackled to the ground and arrested. But supposedly there was another one or even two people that were supposed to either throw the grenade or keep shooting. And they didn't do it. So the official version of assassination attempt on the Pope is one gunman that was how you call it? It was neutralized, but there were more people, and those were kept a secret. And part of the investigation, when they looked at the hotel where I worked, they called me up and gave me to sort the documents, and I found some names that I'm not going to talk about. And for now, one day, if I'm allowed to, I will. But it's, as I said, it's 40 years, 42 years past. In 2026 going to be 45 years since assassination time. So this is why part was part of my gag stalking is my father's nuclear patent that was stolen, and my father died in strange circumstances 31 years ago. And the second one was a political game of between East and West, between Soviets and NATO. So I ended up kind of knowing things, and some people simply try to shut me up. Yeah, I have a question again, Mike. Yeah, I see. I feel like I was getting frequencies and followed. Uh, what are you talking about? You're talking about yourself that you were followed, or explain? Please explain. Type it. I will wait. If you're listening now, please do type. I will try to answer. You see, the reason uh, I will try to ask you to write it now because when life is over, the messages are gone. This thing is gone, so I won't be able to look at and read what did you ask me. So go ahead, sir, ask, and I will try to answer. Sir, well, not much you can do. I will. Uh, so this is it pretty much for today, and the yeah, I see. Yes, myself, like people in cars following using one headlight. Um, I cannot. You see, the gang stalking is a very unique for everybody. Uh, but I wouldn't be surprised if you have been followed, if you have something to be followed about. But uh, I will tell interesting stuff in general now um, as a technical abilities of everybody rises so much, I don't think it will be anymore the way that you explain. They will follow you. Usually, they can follow you with drone, and they can rent if you're a really asset of some kind. They can rent temporary timing from a satellite, and it can be really fast. And even if you're with drone, it can be you can't see anything. See, but you gave me good idea. Um, I will have um, drones absolutely possible. Actually, I see over Atlanta very often drones at night, and they just hang in the air. Huh. I see. I work from work sometimes till 11 o'clock, and if there is another job I can get within the company that I work at, I would love to have extra hours. And so I see drones very often. Not just that, they sometimes they're different. You can see them there with the sometimes they're with the red light, um, with the red light, and sometimes they have green light. Like so you can see drone hanging in the air, one with the green, then with the red, and they just can kind of then and disappear. So it's kind of interesting. At the beginning, I thought, what the hell is this? Like alien ships or something? But did your gangsters again? Did your gang stalking ever stopped? No. I've been gang stalked since I'm a teenager, and I've been gang stalked since and I've been gang stalked in all three countries that I lived. And with age, you stopped. I stopped. Um, not worry about it, but the I stopped accepting that there is no. Uh, yeah, uh, I stopped not worry, but I stopped believing of um, that I will have exit out of it, and that's why I try to live with them with that situation. You said you're starting isolating. This is the worst thing you can do. Don't go everywhere. Try to do. This is what they want because when you isolate it, you have uh, psychological damage in a way. After a while, um, some people the what is solitary confinement is. If you deal with law enforcement, for instance, the solitary confinement part is a punishment, and the you have to look at animals when they're put in cage, and you will see them walking in circle, and it means it's beginning of a, in a way, mad cycle. Isolation creates um, nervous breakdowns, and when they know what you are and how you behave, what you like, what you love, who you're interested in, what do you do, and so on and so on, they create this distraction protocol on you. And then uh, it's kind of a can be really bad. So this is the whole thing. You have to have body and the mind is created the way that you have to have um, constant new impression and constant new stuff that it can the mind can move around. No, I don't hear voices, and don't ever tell anybody if you do, because they said they're gonna simply tell you in that case. But the I when I go through forums, the people complaining about hearing music and hearing somebody's talking, but it's not in their head. The gang stalkers has really interesting approach. They will place not the microphone, some kind of stuff that broadcasts stuff. The technical capabilities now are really big, so you can have a small radio placed somewhere that you cannot find it, and this small radio will can send you. I wouldn't throw messages that would like suddenly have news or you have music playing, and you say, "Where the hell this come from?" That's why I'm saying it's this is part. There is a whole bunch of situations that people are um, they're creating in order to destabilize your brain. A stable brain, and I just recently had a situation with somebody who had uh, bipolar, and this is exactly what gangstalkers try to create with people. It's the same, very close to this. You see, bipolar, they suddenly one part of the specter, very nice, and then suddenly they move and become not physically but verbally violent and so on. This is what the goal of gangstalker is, to destabilize you. I had when I had attempt to entrap me and get me fired from one place and work in Salt Lake City, they would break, I call it small operation, on a small pieces. Like several people would come tell me things that would irritate me. Then they leave, and then somebody else come in. Then a third party actually comes and unloads with me all the crap in order for me to react really ugly. Fortunately, I was warned, and people say, "Don't do this, don't do this," and I didn't. And so it's kind of a disappointment. But you never know what can. See, those people are professionals, okay, and you're not the first one. If you're really gang stalked, you don't. If you're really gang stalked, those people are professionals. They will make you look uh, like an idiot or like a sick. And what really is gonna stop gang stalking is the reason you to find out why you're gang stalked. For instance, when I find out that my father had a nuclear patent that works millions or maybe even more, uh, they stopped because they didn't want to have exposure. Okay. And then I start pursuing things. And the more you pursue and understand what's going on, they start to going into holes. It's like rats running from sinking ship. And again, I apologize. The I have here was the GERD I have. It's actually consequences of poisoning last year. So it's going to be 1 year and 1 month this week. And let me read what you have. Did you? No, you're not started. Isolating because of fear. Did you? No, don't. Why do you think they gun stalked? I heard some of these people. I'm absolutely sure. I mean, nobody works for free. Of course, they're going to get paid. How? I have no idea. And by the way, if you find out how, put them somewhere. Well, the reason is very simple. Every single crime has financial trace. So if you get financial trace, uh, you are you practically lead to a person who financed it. All right. Uh, that's why the financiers of all big crimes in the world, or accounting for the mafia, for call it for Al Capone, for instance, or somebody, there always something would happen to them that they cannot point and say this is what happened, this is what he did, or so somewhere. Simply the financial crimes of uh, any type, as I said, leave a trace. Okay, so why do you think they're gonna start? Okay, can you tell more about? Actually, it's very. I need to sort it. See, I have a lot of stuff in my head, and I have stuff. So it's not just I cannot talk anymore really fast. See, it's almost 12 o'clock. It's actually 12:10. I'm gonna go to bed, and my video is about 40 minutes now. It's 39 minutes. So whoever is in. Uh, if you interested, subscribe to my channel, and very soon I told guys here I'll be moving to Patreon, because my gangstalking actually um, created, I call it a perpetual impoverishment. I spent $250,000 on my mother's. Our family spent $250,000 on my mother's medicine and her sickness, and it's it was devastating. She was refused every single assistance, government assistance, and even though she was a professor for almost 40 years in one of the colleges in Salt Lake City. So, which by the way, what I did, I just opened my own legal fund that would sort stuff that I need to sort after her death and after my situation. I got divorced with massive consequences for my financial uh, well-being. And as I said, it's 41 it's quite long videos, maybe the longest I did. So my point here is really simple. Sir Mike, if you are not a subscriber, please do. Doesn't cost anything. Um, and mostly lately I do its live videos. And this is it pretty much for today. As I said, I need to, I have a situation that I need to fix, and I'm trying to go buy some stuff that I can start doing door dashing. I even though I'm a supervisor for a security group, for a security firm, I still need money, and so I don't want to get. Um, I kind of need to sleep today. So okay, guys, thank you, and Sir Mike, as I said, um, don't disappear. I'm not disappearing. I'll try to do max. If you need something, like just simply go to the channel and leave a comment in any type of video. They usually the announcer will come to me and say, somebody left a comment. And you can not just, it doesn't have to be a comment, it can be in the form of comment. You have a question, and then next time when I talk, maybe it will give me an idea to continue to different stuff. But that's what it is for today, and I'm ending my stream. Thank you and have a good night. I don't know where you're from, Mike. I'm, as I said, currently in Atlanta. I'm stuck here, and I called myself a temporary Southern. I got stuck here taking care of my mother. She died recently, so I have so much stuff to fix. And as I said, I have very stuff to deal with. And as I said, whoever feels to contribute to my legal fund, please do. And this is it pretty much. All right. You have a good night, and thank you very much for listening to me.